So once your this preview section is loaded, let's just go back to our API page. You see that this is how the JSON data is here represented. So you can see that there's a type top which is of a type array, and inside of this array there are these data types. These data types are really big and they contain a lot of values. So we don't really need to like load all of them, and you can see that start date is actually empty in some of them, which gives us a hint that it's actually an optional type. Look, it's not really necessary that you just find it out in your first code and which type is optional or not. So you could just check it while making your structures, and if your data does not fetch, it shows an error, then obviously something is optional. So I would show it to you as well, like what happens when you just don't declare stuff as optional. So to recreate that same instance that our JSON has, we would have to create the properties with the exact same name and give it the same value as well. Like the rank and the ID both out of the type integers. So you just have to create them as integers only. You cannot declare them as string. That would cause errors and your data won't load. Now we would go about a low uh, naming more values like title, then type, start date, as I mentioned earlier as well. So these are the some of the types that we are using. It's not completely necessary that you use all of the data types present inside the JSON data. It's only that which ones you like, and you just pick them out, use the exact name and the exact data type, and that's about it. So see, we have done this much, and I think this is all. If we are left with something else, okay, yes, the image URL. And there's a tricky function to load images as well. We'll talk about this much more detail in the later class. So for now that we have made this much, now we would create a final array which would have a value which would be named top, which would have these elements, right? So just now we created this array, and you can name them anything. Like I have named result this structure, but actually in our JSON data there is nothing called result because the structure name does not matter, but the property inside of it matters. So now we are conforming it to the type codable. That's obvious because when you want to use JSON decoding, if you have seen my earlier videos as well, the one with food ordering app, then they do it in this way. Now you see that we have created this variable which is of the type result, which is of a type array which contains the type result. We will continue with this in the next videos.